of, you know, the right wing or the Republicans or, you know, Trump, when like purportedly liberal institutions like McMaster University are implementing policies like this. Now, I filed an application against against McMaster University with the Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario for banning my medication, and I organized a protest back in 2017 to push McMaster University to at least lessen their ban so they're not banning people with disabilities from their campus. And they sent their police to intimidate, harass, and humiliate me. I was racially carded 3 times, and I was harassed by Sergeant Joseph Zubik in the student center. I do believe that I was racially carded because of their director of parking services, Glenn DeCare, who's the former chief of police at Hamilton. I'm sorry, but we're talking about health policy, and this is an important question. Yes, it is very much a health policy because I'm a medical user, and I'm not going to be allowed to use my medication on campus. I actually had to leave this university because of the way they were bullying me and bullying a lot of people with disabilities. So I'm just wondering, like, what your approach, like, what your stance is on an issue like that. And then you're talking about even hospitals like Hamilton Health Sciences. I have a friend of mine who's also a medical user. She had her leg amputated, and they bullied her there and told her that she couldn't take her medical cannabis on campus. And hold on, and if she was to take her medical cannabis in the hospital, she'd have to leave, and they forced narcotics on her, which are highly addictive and can lead to all sorts of long-term complications. And I'm just wondering why we're framing this as an issue of, you know, there being a right-wing issue or a Trump issue. No, I'm wondering, that's my question. So my question is, no, but I had to give you that context so you understand. So my question is, why are we framing this as just an issue of Trump and, you know, almost
because
making it seem like it's sort of a short-term, hold on, like it's sort of a short-term issue, and if we swing back to the left, to the Democrats, that it's all going to be okay when universities like McMaster are implementing policies like this, and, you know, institutions like the Hamilton Health Sciences, which McMaster Hospital runs under, are also implementing policies that ban access to essential medication. Thank you.
Wow.
Okay.
It sounds like you faced some real challenges with this issue, and I'm sorry to hear that. I think that you know, I'm probably not going to give you an answer that is terribly satisfactory, because I think it's kind of outside my department, to be honest, as a political scientist. But I will say, I think that it is useful to again, maybe this is a little tangential to the specific difficulties that you face, but I think it is important for Canadians not to fall into the trap of looking south and feeling smug. Because the rollbacks to the ACA, are going to cause people to lose their health insurance, right? And that is a serious problem. But with this, as with many other types of issues, I don't think we should let our kind of shock and sometimes really deep concern about what's happening in the US blind us to the various problems facing our own health system and our own political system. So thank you for bringing our attention to that issue.
Or I forget exactly where you stood on that. But the reality is capitalism is in crisis. It's been in crisis since 2008, and they're trying to make the working class pay for it. How much time do I have, by the way? Sure, I don't want to take up too much time. I just want to know what my time limit is. I have a point to make. I want you to address this. But I really don't like the fact that you said, oh, it's just, you know, the thesis that you have, that social policies are sticky because they're just entrenched. I mean, the reality is these things were fought for by working people. If you look at social health care in Canada, that was fought for by the unions and the mass organizations of the working class. And the reality is, today in Canada, you know, healthcare is under attack. We're seeing a huge increase in hallway medicine. We're seeing privatizations, hospital amalgamations. We're not seeing sufficient term of life care. And this is explicitly a policy of austerity. That's a reality. Austerity, again, making the capitalist crisis be paid for by the working class. And so what I really dislike about your talk is this idea of entrenchment being something that's just, oh, social policies just are popular. No, it is the fact that people fought for these things. People fought for social health care. People fought for unions. People fought for these, and the only way that we'll keep these things is by fighting. We can't expect the policies themselves to have their own life as if there's just ideas and policies floating out in the real world. People have to fight for these things, and in fact, people, in some cases, for example, as union rights, people die for these things. People died for, and people are dying because of the healthcare situation. And so I think what I really dislike is just this idea of liberal establishment kind of things that are stuck, and we will just expect that as soon as Trump goes away or the far right calms down, we get the Democrats back in power, things go away. That's not the case. Under the Democrats, the same problem, the same capitalist crisis will continue, and the only way to fight that is to fight for social revolution. Thank you.
Okay,
respond to that.
Yeah, no, thanks for your introduction. Again, I'm probably not going to be able to give a fulsome response to all the points you brought up, but one point in particular I think is something that I can address that might be of interest to you and some of the other audience members. I gave kind of a bird's eye view again about existing existing theories of the welfare state, about why we expect them to be resilient. And it actually goes back to this, the comment that you made about we need to pay attention to the fact that people fought for these programs, and they fought for these rights, and they fought for these protections. That is really important. And it's really important because our theories predict, and research on the resilience of welfare states in the past has supported the fact that we should expect, these hard-won policies, they're fought for, but we don't necessarily need the same groups who fought for the policies to remain strong for the policies to be protected. It should be the case that over time, as a wider group benefits, the supportive constituency can move beyond the folks who originally fought for it. And this was found in Paul Pearson's really seminal work on Reagan and Thatcher and welfare state retrenchment in the UK and the US during their administrations, because his argument was, first, that these leaders were not very successful compared to their goals when it came to retrenchment, and second, that their failures could not be explained by the same factors that prompted welfare state development. Because at the time Reagan and Thatcher were trying to retrench these policies, unions weren't as strong as they used to be in the UK. So what was protecting these types of programs? And the answer was the supportive constituency had grown. Popularity had moved beyond the people who initially fought for the policy. And so, again, these are, the book's called The New Politics of the Welfare State, and now Pearson's arguing maybe we need the new politics of the welfare state, that some of these old theories of retrenchment do not seem to be as effective anymore. Anyway, I know that doesn't touch on everything you brought up, but that's one aspect of my expertise that I think is related to your comment.